What will happen to America if Kamala Harris becomes president? The answer to that question is revealed in our explosive 88-page special report, and you can get it absolutely free from one of America's most truthful news sources, WorldNet Daily. Dozens of trusted experts come together to paint a shocking but accurate picture of what will become of the greatest nation on earth if Kamala Harris becomes president. Just call 8337-KAMALA or go to KamalaFreeReport.com and download your copy of Kamala's America immediately. That's KamalaFreeReport.com.
Matt, you're muted, buddy.
One day left, folks. Welcome to the program. The country stands on the precipice of what could be the final decision to reshape America. We are 1 day away from the most incredible day that we've been leading up to, and all eyes are turning on the swing states to decide this election. And there's one in particular. That has been making headlines and that we have been paying attention to because so many great grassroots folks have landed and descended upon the state of Pennsylvania. And we are so happy to be joined by the founder of the PA Chase. Ladies and gentlemen, there he is. It's Cliff Maloney. And Cliff, welcome to the program. You were on here a couple of weeks ago, and we were discussing the PA Chase. This was an effort to make sure that people turn in their ballots that they've requested through mail-in ballots. And I saw your tweet this morning, or your post on X, either last night or this morning, that was phenomenal because you guys have crushed it out there, and we want to make sure the audience hears an update and any last-minute things that they can do to help you guys cross the finish line.
Yeah, well, it's wild out here in Pennsylvania. I'll share with you guys, I'm here at our headquarters. It's a wreck. You know, we don't have time to keep it together. There's coffee everywhere, and we're just running on fumes. But I tell everybody, we're not going to stop until November 6th. As I said when I was on the show last, our goal was to knock 500,000 doors. And right now, our team of 120 full-timers, we've knocked over 477,000, and that's as of last night. So we've got all day today, all day tomorrow, and I'm confident that we're on track to hit that 500,000. Now, Matt, let me talk to you about the results, okay? Because the results to me, now we're starting to see actual returns, right? We're actually understanding how many Republicans not just requested, but have returned. And so let me share those numbers. If you compare 4 years ago to today, and you look at Democrat performance 4 years ago compared to today, and Republican performance, where do they land? Well, Democrats right now are down 403,000 in terms of the amount of returns when you look at 2020 versus today. That's a huge number. Remember, Trump only lost PA by 80,000 votes. So 400,000 less Democrats have returned a mail-in ballot. Well, how do Republicans shape up with that? Where did we fall? Well, due to our efforts, we're now up 113,000. And so all of these numbers are great. And look, the Democrat argument is, oh, don't worry. There was a pandemic. Our folks are going to show up on election day. Well, we had the same pandemic, and we're up 113,000.
Right.
And so I think there's a lot of variables at play, but this comes down to turnout tomorrow. Do Republicans and every Trump voter in PA show up to vote? And if they do, we win. The Democrats have to have record turnout, and we have to have some of the most abysmal turnout for them to pull off a win. So I'd much rather be us than them.
Wow, that's incredible. Josh, when we think about the folks who have been, we've been watching, scouring social media, watching things happen in Pennsylvania. There was some fights that went to the court about ballots. There were people that found ballots. Scott Pressler, who you've been working with and know. I want to ask you about a demographic that people are also paying attention to, to keep it light here. The Amish. Have you been knocking the Amish doors? We've been seeing the Amish. Let's watch this real quick here. This footage of the Amish. Amish for Trump.
We ain't the same on the game. Hey, Donald Trump is your president, and if you like it or not, keep the energy you had with Barack. Cause this Trump train don't stop till.
Yeah, incredible. I'm so glad you found that, Josh. Cliff, what do you think? What do you think? Is this the kind of energy you're seeing out there?
Yeah, I always say there's two specific communities that I think are going to be just this huge shift for 2024. One is Amish voters. I mean, it's like 99 to 1, of the Amish that vote that support Trump. The problem is getting them to vote. And ironically, when we had this rule shift and the Democrats took advantage of it, the Amish are much more likely to vote when they vote by mail, right? They don't have to travel to the polls. In some areas, they don't have to use electronic systems. And so we have targeted it. I'll give Scott Presler and Early Vote Action tons of credit because they're targeting it. And the results that we're seeing, the numbers will do the talking, right? No more yapping from me or pundits. The numbers will do the talking. But I'm extremely confident that Amish numbers are going to be something we've never seen before in Pennsylvania for Trump. The other community, Matt, is Black men. I don't know how to tell people this any other way, but this is not 2016. This is not 2020. When we talk to these folks at the door, especially members of the PHAs that are Black, when they go to the door, the excitement for Trump and honestly kind of just the disdain for Kamala Harris, I think Black men are going to move in a way we haven't seen, and I think it's going to have a huge impact on the results in PA.
Do you think that there's a chance that we're cannibalizing day of voters? People keep talking about, all this early vote turnout or the mail-in ballots and stuff. Are we cannibalizing the day of voter? What's your instinct on that?
Well, the short answer is yes, because we're actually running a program to try to turn people out to vote by mail. So naturally, when we launched the PHAs and we said, hey, we're going to knock 500,000 doors, we totally understood that you're going to be moving. We're not aiming to do that, right? Our effort is to find low propensity voters.
Yeah.
But roughly 35 to 40% of those that have voted were election day voters in 2020. And I'm not saying that like, oh, we're in trouble. I'm not saying that like, oh, that's great. It's just the facts of life. And so that is why I tell everybody the numbers look great right now. But if we don't go to the polls, if we don't just flood the polls and put up a number on election day that is extremely impressive, we could lose PA. That's not me fear mongering. I'm not trying to scare anybody. But if you're somebody that thinks that PA is in the bag, you're not looking at the numbers correctly. Democrats are going to do everything they can to turn people out. We have to match that. Remember, Trump won Pennsylvania by 1.3 votes when you just look at 1.3 million votes when you just look at election day. Biden won PA by 1.4 million when it comes to mail-in votes. That's how he won by 80,000. Democrats right now, they're only up about 410,000 votes. So let me say it one more time. Biden won mail-ins by 1.4 million votes. The Democrat lead, if you just look at party returns, is 410,000. That is 1 million votes in the right direction for us. So could they turn all those people out? They could, but it's going to take a lot of effort tomorrow, and we can't rely on them to fail. We have to win by turning our folks out.
Okay, so Cliff, what's your message at the door now? Because obviously mail-in ballots, can they still return them? Are you still telling people to send in their ballots? Or are you telling them, okay, now go show up at your poll and turn in your ballot or just go vote? What's their plan? What are you talking?
I mean, every day is a little different. So yesterday was a weekend, so a lot of the county offices were not open. Today's message is simple, it being Monday. We're talking to people that have a mail-in ballot, and we're saying, listen, can you go to the county office right now? Right? We're not encouraging them to wait, definitely not encouraging them to mail it at this point. It's can you take your ballot and go to the county office right now? If you can't go today, drop it off tomorrow in person. Do not put it in the mail. Now, for those that haven't requested, Matt, you're accurate. You can no longer request a mail-in ballot unless you're in Erie County, which has extended it through today at 6 p.m. So if you're in Erie, go to your county office, get on-demand mail-in ballot, fill it out there, and submit it. But for everybody else, if you have a ballot, take it in today. If you can't today, take it in tomorrow. If you haven't requested, you've got to do the old-fashioned way, show up on Tuesday, and make sure your voice and your vote count.
Cliff, do you? I don't want to keep you too long here, but are you paying any attention to the rhetoric that's going on out there, where they're saying, Trump is out there sowing misinformation by saying, "Oh, there's cheating going on in Pennsylvania," to kind of set up the notion that he's going to challenge Pennsylvania, or that Pennsylvania is not going to go if it doesn't go his way, it's because of the things that we're seeing in the news now. Are you following any of that?
Yeah, I mean, I've been a victim of it. Not that I scream victimhood. I'd like to be a victor, and we are going to be victorious on Tuesday. But CNN has come after me. I mean, they did a whole hit piece, Good Morning America. And why? Because I just literally called out some abnormalities. I mean, when you try to put these things out there and you try to get answers, people see that as some sort of way that you're setting the stage down the road. No, if there are things that need answers, let's get the answers now. I don't want to get the answers on November 6th. I want to get answers now. And I think Trump is doing that, right? I agree with him. I mean, look, we've had 4 to 5 counties in Pennsylvania where district attorneys are now coming out saying, listen, this group submitted a batch of these registrations and they're fraudulent. Okay, that's a fact. That's a district attorney elected by the county coming out and saying that we have a case that we're pursuing against fraud when it comes to voter registration. So I don't think he's trying to sow any division. I don't think he's trying to set the stage. I think we're just looking for the truth. And so the left is going to take anybody on the right that points out any type of irregularity, and they're going to try to paint you as a conspiracy theorist or some sort of election denier. Forget those people. Tell them to go pound sand, ignore them. Search for the truth. And I think as we do that, it helps us to feel more secure and more confident in our election system.
Okay, good. I love hearing that. That's really great. All right. Well, Cliff, when you look at the betting markets and and you see this, what is it? Is it Kashi? Kalshi. I don't know how the heck you say it.
Kalshi.
Yeah. When you see this stuff and you realize, that these numbers, these aren't polls, these are people betting on whether they're not, Trump or Harris is going to win. What's your take on how bettors look at these markets and we see graphs like this?
Yeah, well, look, I look at this a lot more than I look at polling, just to be frank with you guys. And the reason for that is a lot of people don't understand these pollsters have a pretty tough job. And what I mean by that is you're not polling something where you have decades of historical data or where you have decades of modeling to go after. Okay, there's only been one presidential race where they've had this rule change. I'm talking Pennsylvania specifically, but also a lot of the swing states. There's only been one presidential race. It's 2020 with the different rules. Well, what's the problem with that? We were in the middle of a pandemic. And even if people out there are like, oh, it wasn't really a pandemic, the Democrats believed it, right? The Democrats were able to scare so many people into getting a mail-in vote that it really makes it tough. And so pollsters, for those that aren't really familiar, pollsters, what they're doing is they're trying to take a sample of 300 or 400 people, and they want it to match the demographics of the state, the age of the typical voter, the race, the ethnicity, the gender, their propensity to vote. This is important, their propensity to vote, meaning how many times have they voted? How likely are they to vote? But the problem is, Matt, they don't have the final ability to say, what is their method of voting? And even if they capture it, right, some of them do ask the question, how do you weigh that? Because you don't really have historical data to tell you if somebody voted by mail last time and now they're saying they're going to vote in person or vice versa. And so when you talk about the betting markets, it's one of the reasons I'm very confident that Trump will win tomorrow. It's because a lot of the betting markets, there's actual incentives. People are trying to put their own money on the line. And I just think it's a much better indicator than polls.
Yeah, Matt, that's great. Cliff, that you kind of cleared something up for us because a lot of people have been seeing the betting markets and they're just like, they dismiss them. But based on what you've told me, I'm going to put some money on the market right now. And thank you for that tip. So Cliff, I wanted to ask you, I'm getting this question from everyone I know. I think people think we're in politics or something. We're not. And they want to know when you think your best guess on when we'll get the results. Day after, day of seems impossible, but I'd love to get your opinion on that.
Yeah. So I think it's either going to be one of two things. Either A, we're going to have it sometime between 2 a.m. So I mean, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning around 2 a.m. to let's say, 10 a.m. Or I don't think we're going to know the result for a long time. Now, the only way I'm wrong about that, let me walk through the scenarios, is one, the mail. So just so everyone understands, the mail-ins are going to hit first in Pennsylvania. Not all of them, but probably 30 to 50% will hit first. Okay, so 8 p.m. the polls close. In the first 30 minutes, we'll probably see that. Democrats will be up. They won't be up like they were in 2020, thanks to our work, the work of our partners, right, to chip into that lead. But they're going to have a significant lead once the mail-ins hit. After that, you'll start to see a lot of the day of votes come in. And depending on where they come in, it could become a bigger lead for Democrats if Philly and Allegheny counties hit first. But once all of those red counties start to come in, because once again, we're hoping to dominate election day voting, that's when you're going to start to see parity. That's when the race is going to really become close. And then you're going to have a mix of all the last mail-ins and all the last election day votes. And right now, I would say I hope Trump wins by 2 points. The first way this could be wrong is if somebody very much overperforms the other candidate, and right away when you've got a whole batch of numbers in and it looks like we've got a good mixture that's going to match the rest of the state, somebody's up by 5 points and they call it. Okay, that could happen. It could happen either way. Okay, if Kamala overperforms, she could do that. If we underperform or we overperform. But the reason I say roughly between 2 and 10 a.m. is because I think if somebody's up by more than 2 points, once the biggest batch of everything comes in, which should be around 2 a.m., hopefully earlier, I think that's when they might call it. And so I say between 2 a.m. and 10 a.m. because maybe they finish the counting the next morning, they've got enough, and somebody's up by 2. But here's my prediction. If this is closer than a 2-point race, and there are enough provisional mail-in ballots, okay, that didn't pass the smell test, this is going to go to the courts. And my argument and my wish is it does not. Because I think if it goes to the courts, if you're expecting it to help Republicans in any way, the courts typically don't help us. I don't mean that they're robbing us, but a lot of these judges, they don't want to throw away votes because they think that they're disenfranchising voters. That's their argument. Even Republican judges say that. So I really, really think we have to have a 2-point spread one way or the other for the election to be called in a timely manner.
Yeah. And Cliff, Josh, you want to follow up?
Well, I was just saying Cliff is right, like about this idea that we don't know the disparity in the votes between men voting Kamala and their wives' lovers voting for Kamala at the same time. So there's a lot of unknowns there of what those numbers will be.
Yeah, and listen,
Thanks.
I was at the Eagles game last night, and I like the planes overhead. They had some political planes, with the tail message. And her closing message, and I'm not saying maybe it's a super PAC, so I won't necessarily give it to her, but people spending money on her closing message are saying to women, your husband does not know who you're voting for. It's a secret ballot.
Wow.
Dump Trump. That is their message.
Wow.
If you're in our position, I feel pretty good if that's your entire message to try to win. I mean, they're throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks. Okay, we just heard that they're spending like $50,000, the Kamala campaign, to prop up the Libertarian candidate in Pennsylvania. I mean, when you're at that point, I think you're grasping here and trying to figure out, you're desperate and looking for some way to flip the narrative.
Well, that's why what leads to this question here is all the down ballot races, across this in every state. It's going to be very important here for the composition of the House and the Senate. What are you seeing in Pennsylvania? Is there energy for anything to flip? Is there people growing strength when you look down ballot on the Republican ticket?
Yeah, well, look, I'm sitting here right now in Central PA. I'm in Scott Perry's congressional district. It's the #1 target for Democrats in PA. They're pouring tens of millions of dollars in here to try to take him out. The numbers on mail-ins look great for us. I mean, we've cut into their lead, by 10,000 vote difference. And so this is going to be a tight one. We feel good about the energy here. The other thing we care about are state Senate and state House races. So we're trying to defend a couple of our Republican state senators. But then when you look at the state House, I mean, we're trying to flip the state House. Excuse me. So we're in a lot of these districts. To be frank with you, if Trump pulls off like a 4-point win, I feel very good about everything down ballot. If Trump pulls off a 0.5% win, there's going to be some tough battles. If Trump loses, it's going to be tough. I don't think we can win the state House. I don't think McCormick has any shot if Trump loses. And so, my hope is I hope Trump wins by more than 2, because then I think we're very competitive. But man, I would love to see him win by 5 points, and that have a complete coattail down the ballot to help a lot of our targets.
Yeah. Well, Cliff, I want to show this one last clip here for you, because I want this to be an encouraging thing for folks to see, that they need to stay in line when they're voting, when they're dropping off, whatever they need to do to vote, whatever they need to do to cast their ballot, they need to stay in line. Here's a bunch of folks in Pennsylvania who are forced to vote by flashlight. I don't know if you've seen this. Watch this real quick.
Tomorrow, or you can vote.
Everybody stay. You guys are here to stay. I recommend staying.
I agree. I have too. I've been here since 7 o'clock this morning.
6:30.
7:30.
6:30.
I'm with you guys. So I get
Not about me, though.
I'm with you. I just want you to be able to vote. And I know there's other options than standing here today, but I want you to be able to do this today.
The other gentleman.
Cliff, come on, man. What's going on out there? People in lines for 8-10 hours? Like, what's going on? The fact of the matter is, you got to stay in line, right?
Stay in line. That's our message to every single Republican. I expect these will be the longest wait times in the history of PA politics on Tuesday. I mean, listen, these are government workers, right? And I hate to be so blunt, but they're not going to be efficient. They're not going to have some sort of way to create lines that are they're going to be under I mean, their manpower is not going to be where it needs to be. And what happened was, when we started to really push this on-demand mail-in ballots at your county office, because people didn't want to use the post office, that's why these things took off, right? And these county offices, some of them have one staff member. And you're talking about counties with hundreds of thousands of people. So it is a wild, wild situation. But the message to everybody is, you got to block off election day. It is not a 15-minute on your lunch break. You've got to go. I would go in the morning, because some of these might have 6 to 7 hour waits. And
Yes.
I believe this is the most important election to save the republic. And so if you truly believe that, I mean, I know not everybody, people got to put food on the table, but I think everyone should be prepared. And the message needs to be, stay in line, make sure your vote is counted.
Yes, fantastic. All right, Cliff, where can people follow you, your work, and any last minute things they can do to help?
Sure. On X, just at Maloney, my last name, at Maloney. And then if folks want to come to PA, one more chance. Arrive tonight. We'll have you out all day tomorrow. PAchase.com. If you can't come out, we're still taking our final day sponsors, $175 sponsors, an entire day of ballot chasing. That's PAchase.com/donate. But look, I'm energized. I'm excited. And we're going to hit this 500,000 door number. I appreciate you guys at WorldNet Daily for doing this, giving us a platform. And I love your viewers. You guys were so great last time I was on. But let's win PA and let's win the White House. That's the goal. We'll sleep on November 6th.
Fantastic. All right, Cliff, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Cliff.
Yeah, kill him out there, brother. All right. Fantastic. Josh, incredible stuff there, man. Incredible stuff.
I always feel better when we talk to Cliff, man. I just,
Yeah, that's right?
I do.
These younger millennials, there's something about them, no?
That's right. These young people like Cliff.
Oh man, but we need those folks, because there's deranged people all over the place. Our own Kira Turnbow here, who I think we know very well, posted this clip on X. Check this out, of this deranged woman out in Is this in California?
Yeah, it is.
You're trespassing and stealing private property. It's a misdemeanor.
He just hit me in the face.
The police are coming.
Oh, I love it. I'm so happy they're coming, because
Okay.
I can basically file a claim against him for hitting me in the face.
He did not hit you in the face.
Oh my God.
Drop the sign. Get out of here. This is private property.
Imagine the gall. Imagine the gall to pull over. And she was driving a Tesla, wasn't she?
Oh, she was. Yeah.
She's got a lot to rectify, huh? She's got a lot of.
Yeah. Let's just get your California Karen. No big deal. Fully entitled, accusational, liar, taking people's signs was against the law, but they're justified because, you know, if there was a sign for Hitler out there, Matt, you'd take it out too.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I wouldn't want to see those out there. Okay. Well,
people are nuts, man. Like the one thing I'm hopeful for, and this is probably foolish. Can we have some resolution finally? Like, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's like, guys, if Trump wins, you can say you lost. Okay. Now hold your breath, because Hitler's gonna do what? Probably nothing. Maybe better the country. And they'll be screaming the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, what is the resolution? Like when Biden, like I was saying earlier today, I was like, I can't believe we're here. We're one day away.
Yeah.
And I remember standing in my kitchen watching Biden be inaugurated and thinking, are we really gonna have to wait at least 4 years of this? And I don't want to say we didn't fight during those 4 years, but when you talk about like what is the end game? Like what are we going towards? How are people going to act with each other? I don't see them just saying, okay, well, I guess 4 years and we'll try again.
I know. There's no way. There's no way. We already know that James Comey. This is the newest thing, that James Comey had 2 agents inside the Trump campaign during the campaign in 2016, before the Russiagate allegations. So, no, they're not going to give up. Who knows what's going to happen now to the country. But one thing that Maloney said, which is Cliff said, that I think sounds like the most logical thing, is that it's either going to be right away as far as the results, or it's going to be a while. And a while sounds to me like the most likely thing.
Oh, man,
court battle and all that.
Yeah. What is interesting, and maybe this is something we could talk about during our election coverage tomorrow, folks. We're going to have all day election coverage tomorrow, so we got a lot. We're going to have to fill it with something, but especially if results don't come in, like you say.
Yeah.
But there, this presidential, the presidential electoral act that was passed in 2022 talked about how if there is no clear winner 5 days after the election, that both teams, both camps, the Harris camp and the Trump camp, can start the transition process with the GSO.
Where from Florida for Trump? I mean,
well, exactly.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, they'll just start the process until a winner is selected, and then that way, however they go along, they'll both be ready to sit down. So I don't know. There's so much. There's so much to come.
That's the most temp hiring scenario ever, right? Like
it is, but it's U.S. law.
Yeah. Hey,
what a shock.
We might want you to run Treasury, but I can't promise you anything in 60 days.
Yeah. And here's the funny thing is that Harris will have all the bloat and all the stuff. She even hinted that she would just carry over the Biden cabinet. She's like, I'll just keep the Biden cabinet. Trump on his side has the what is it? The Department of Government Efficiency, right? We've talked about this on the show, right?
Yeah.
So you've got one.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was just saying, you got one camp that's going to keep the status quo transitioning, and then you've got the 2 Bobs coming in to cut the jobs.
Oh, yeah. I hope they film some of that, if it works out,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That would be their best reality show ever. Speaking of filming stuff, the Hollywood Avengers got together and dropped this piece of propaganda on us the other day. Let's check this out.
Piece of something.
Okay, I like that.
It's hard to argue with that.
Kamala Harris down with democracy.
Oh, yeah. I'm Kamala Harris, and I say down with democracy.
What is that?
I think, Matt, this is a great example. Their heads are so far up their butts. They don't even know what they're saying, right? They think they're like, actually, it's so perfect, right? Some people say it's Freudian, but it's better than that. They think they're like, oh yeah, she's down for it, but what they're actually saying is she's down for democracy.
We're down.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah, they don't know what they're doing. It's like when the Washington Post says darkness or democracy dies in darkness. Was that they changed their slogan to that when Trump won? It was like, do you even hear yourself? Like what are you What are you talking about?
They're clowns.
They are. That's why we can see all the energy is on the Trump campaign. Everything is over there. We've talked about it before. And RFK, when he was running as an independent, Nicole Shanahan, who's a filmmaker, I believe she has that in her background here. She was his running mate, and she's been dropping a bunch of these videos for Trump now that RFK is in the Trump camp, as well as she is. And this video dropped yesterday, and it immediately caught fire, and it is phenomenal, and I cannot wait to share this with everybody if you haven't seen it yet. So check this video out, and make sure you find. We retweeted it. I know Kira retweeted it, but check out this video.
What will we do with this moment? How will we be remembered? Look at the opportunities before us.
This election really isn't about the left versus the right. It's about we the people choosing our government and the choice between freedom versus tyranny.
Nobody has a chronic disease burden like we have. Why are we allowing this to happen to our children? Ultimately, the only thing that will save our country is if we choose to love our kids more than we hate each other.
What is going on here is deeper than politics. It is deeply spiritual. We are being called to rise above the hatred and the fear and the evil.
We need to remember above and beyond that we must love our neighbors, that we must treat other people as we hope to be treated.
You want to be a rebel? You want to be a hippie? You want to stick it to the man? Show up on your college campus and try calling yourself a conservative.
America is going to reach heights that it has never seen before. The future is going to be amazing!
Don't you want healthy children? Don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again? The sweet emotion raining all over me.
I come to you today as a former Democrat. I will be a first-time Trump voter tonight.
The people dreamed this country, and it's the people who are making America great again.
Wow, man. I mean, you're a filmmaker,
powerful.
man. Yeah. What do you think?
When I watch stuff like that, I get jealous, honestly. I'm like, that edit was so good. The Kid Rock song, I've never even heard that before.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a recent addition out there, but that's great. Yeah, but I feel just like you, man. I'm like, I would have loved to have been sitting editing something like that. You know, I would have just like camped out, been like, this is what I'm doing tonight, all night long. Let me just like, give me a great Kid Rock song about America and all the footage in the world. You know, if anybody out there has a folder of all the Trump footage. Like I could just be cranking this stuff out. The hardest part about all that stuff is downloading it and finding it everywhere. Like I just want a library of footage, man.
Oh, dude, I know well. You'll see, guys. Tomorrow we're gonna have a lot of stuff like that for our election night coverage. We're gonna have a ton of video, and some of that, Matt, involves every little moment from the last 6 months that in the news. We'll have a video for that too.
That's awesome. Yeah, tomorrow's going to be lots of fun, folks. And we expect to be here for a while. So add us to your rotating list. Yeah, what do you want to move to?
Put up that graphic so everybody knows. So guys, we want you to come back here. It's not on I see it's on the bottom. 7 p.m. Eastern. You see a terrible picture of me, a good picture of Matt, and a wonderful picture of Elizabeth. We're going to have a huge election night coverage. We're planning to go to midnight, but something happens, it's even crazier. We're going to go longer, and then of course we're going to be back immediately the next day, because that is the most likely scenario. And we're going to have a lot of great guests come into the stream with us, So I'm saying it at this point in the stream because I tell everybody, you know, we're going to put it up on the website, we'll put it up on all social media, but we want to get as many folks in here watching with us as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of those reasons too, I think, is don't we have a sponsor here that we want to cut to?
Man, we
what
do.
We got,
let's go to that.
So this is ZStack. This is the Zelenko protocol. If you remember, Dr. Zelenko, he passed away during the COVID pandemic, but from cancer. But he was influential in this. And now that we have cold and flu season upon us, you want to protect your family and have your immune system prepped and ready. Dr. Zelenko here offers immune boosting supplements like zinc and quercetin to naturally defend against sickness. These products are kosher, they're non-GMO, they're made in America, and that QR code there, that'll get you directly to the website so that you can order, and then you use the promo code WND for 5% off, and then also the link's going to be in the description, right?
That's right. It'll be down below in the description of this video on whatever platform you're watching it on. But guys, a really important thing is quercetin and zinc were the primary supplements you needed to take during the COVID season. And it was the one thing that we were sharing with our friends as often as we could, that they needed zinc and quercetin. And both of those kicked COVID's butt. And, you know, I remember, you know, there's a COVID season, it seems like now, which we're entering. And I'm going to have all of these things on hand because, you know, the first, you know, itchy throat, I'm taking all of the zinc and quercetin because especially the quercetin is known to knock down inflammation. Inflammation being one of the key ways that you get a virus and it takes hold in your system.
Yeah, it was a game changer for our family. I mean, we had it and we took it all the time. And so, being able to get his pack, the Zelenko pack, is so great. I mean, I wish it was as easily available 3 years ago than it is now. So folks, click the description in the link there. Click the link in the description and get yourself up on there. Okay, Josh. I don't know about you, but I did not have Peanut the Squirrel on my bingo card being the biggest story 2 days before. I mean, is this the October surprise?
It kind of is, right? Like, I mean, you know, if there's a strong argument for living in a simulation, which I don't believe, but like life's so much better than anything else. Like, and so now we have the memorialized squirrel. Peanut the Squirrel. So look at this. Here's the we have the story. I think we have the story up on WND, but no one killed your pet squirrel or ate your cats when I was president. And Peanut was this like TikTok Peanut character, and he's now dead. Do we have pictures of Peanut, guys? Do we have the video we can show or?
Yeah, he's like jumping around on the owner and stuff. Yeah, we'll find that.
Oh, okay. We need to grab a quick image of Peanut because he was a cute little squirrel.
Yeah. Elon Musk tweeted out a meme here to memorialize Peanut.
I think they're looking for that now. Here we go. Okay.
Yeah. So this is where the Democrats, should they arrest illegals? Should they arrest rapists or murderers? Nah, we're going to go right to killing a squirrel.
So
folks,
should we explain this story a little bit?
Yeah. I don't know if anybody has missed this story, Josh, go right ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically there's this a gentleman, he has a pet squirrel and the pet squirrel has a, there you go. Look how cute he is. He had a massive social media following, little Peanut the squirrel. He was raised kind of scenario where the guy found him. I think like on the side of the road. Maybe I think the mom was killed by a car
like 7 years ago.
Yeah. So he finds a little squirrel. This thing's completely tame and a pet. And in the classic cold-blooded way, there was a complaint filed against him that he had like a feral animal, and like New York State officials showed up, took Peanut and a raccoon that he had as a pet. I've always wanted a raccoon as a pet, by the way, Matt. And they euthanized him. They killed him.
Josh, not only did they kill Peanut, they cut its head off to check for rabies.
That's just, I mean,
At least that's what I heard.
If there's not a better analogy of the government killing everything we love and mutilating everything we love, I don't know what it is. So yeah, this has gone massively viral online because, you know, it kind of represents the two sides of the you have the ultra powerful, cold, heartless government and this tiny little innocent creature, and then it gets killed by this mindless beast. And if is there any like analogy for our times? I mean, this is it. And you know, obviously humans have more value than squirrels, but at this point, people have an easier time of sympathizing with a squirrel. It's pretty sad.
It is sad, and hopefully, I saw a meme. Wait, I don't know if it's the one that we had. This last one that we have. Throw this up. Is this the one I'm thinking of?
The Trump one? No, you're thinking.
Yeah. Killing Peanut the squirrel was the last straw. Yeah. Well, I also saw one that. Yeah, I also saw one that said, if you are appalled at the death of Peanut, wait till I tell you about Ruby Ridge and Waco.
I know.
Because honestly, like that's where this is all headed once again. I mean, it's always the government's always, I don't know, man.
Overstepping, overreaching. Yeah, because you know, like these big, you know, heartless systems. So, but you know, it's made up of bureaucrats. That's not what a regular person's like, you know.
No,
one visit to the DMV and we all go, what is this thing? Why do we have to endure this?
Which is why you need to go to Uncharted Supply. Right?
Yeah, man. You need Okay. Hey, everybody, what's up? We're putting ads in now. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, this company makes a really cool supply pack for like kind of like any scenario. This is what you want to throw in your car or your truck. And it's kind of like, you know, you break down in a cold weather place or something, or at night, this thing's going to have everything.
Yeah. Well, they say the first 72 hours are crucial after some sort of event, you know, survival event. And so this kit here will have everything you need to have to get through that 72 hours.
Yeah.
And so once again, scan the QR code, go to the link in the description to get there. And this is this stuff could be the difference between life or death, you know, for you and your family. So and they also have some other great stuff there too to over at Uncharted Supply Company.
Speaking of life or death, Matt, guys, if you like our show, that's why we're doing these ads. We'd love your support for what we're doing here on the show, and supporting these sponsors that we have in the links to the show really helps us out. We can keep doing what we do as we go into the Civil War.
Yeah, and it just shows that there's companies out there that I haven't, you know, I mean I heard of Dr. Zelenko, but I haven't heard of the Uncharted Supply Company, and I'm fantastic that they've discovered us, or we discovered them, or the relationship is building here, because that's the kind of thing that we need. We need to find like-minded folks here. There's a parallel economy building. It's happening now, and we are going to know in about a day or two how important that's going to be.
Exactly.
So that being said, we know that in the entertainment world and the social media world, that parallel economy is thriving because our Rumble numbers are off the charts. And Rumble is just absolutely crushing it out there when it comes to free speech. So if you're finding yourself on YouTube and you're searching for something and it just doesn't come up, you got to go to Rumble. If you're on Rumble, thank you for being there. Make sure you hit the button. Josh, you're much better at this than I am. What is it that people got to do when they get to Rumble?
I mean, guys, the biggest thing is that you need to like a video, comment if you can, that'd be amazing, but subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, because especially now, you know, like I keep complaining that YouTube really whacks us every time, because we just talk about things like, you know, the jab and all that stuff. We don't hold back, and we talk about elections. Can you imagine not talking about elections? How weird. And YouTube doesn't want you to do that. So yeah, Instagram, X, Telegram, head over there. Please follow us over there. A lot of great content. And of course, we really appreciate you watching us here.
Yes, and so tomorrow, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, we are gonna turn on the old stream here, and I can't wait to have Elizabeth back in our midst. as well as a bunch of other guests. I know you guys have been working hard over there, lining up some guests to come in and out throughout the evening, and we'll be here, and we'll be trying to keep up with real time results about what's happening across the country. And then also, I want to throw this out there. If you go to the polls and and you see something and you record something, like, throw it on social media and tag us so that way we can see it.
We'll put it up on the stream for sure.
Yeah, that would be great, especially you folks out in these battleground states. I mean, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona. I mean, it's going to be credible. And maybe we can share our own version of our maps. You know, you can go to 270 to win, and create your own map. Josh, I heard that if Trump takes Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia, if he has those 3 states, it doesn't matter how the other ones go. Yeah. It doesn't matter how the other ones go. And those are all East Coast states. Those are going to be the ones that can be called at least the soonest. Yeah. And if he takes those 3 states, that's going to be amazing. And he'll hit 270, and he can just build from there if he takes the rest of them.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be here as long as it takes. I'm in the wide shot here. I'll have a sleeping bag laid out here, Matt, as we get later and later. And then I'll just kind of look up from my pillow and report whatever new thing we're hearing. But we hope you will come back and watch our election night coverage. It's going to be great. And tell your friends. And then, of course, use our social media to get it to them. And that we'll be completely biased for Trump. So you can look forward to that.
Yes.
Here we go.
There it is. I'm calling it now.
I mean, there's plenty of other media outlets that are just in the tank for the left. So
yeah, and we want to have fun here, and we call it like it is. We're gonna call it like it is, and any of the mistakes that maybe the campaign has done, we're gonna call them out too. But we're gonna be here. It's only Monday. We got a long week ahead of us. Tomorrow, go out and vote. Stay in line, folks. Stay in line. Do not leave. Do not let anybody tell you can't vote. If you got in line under the wire, like if you screwed up and you can't vote, it's your fault. But if you get in there and you're following the rules, make sure that your ballot looks clean. There's no other marks on it. Make sure we've been having years of watching what ballots are supposed to look like. Get out there, stay in line, and bring extra batteries so that way you can watch us streaming on Rumble. That's how I want you to do it.
That's a great way to put it, Matt. Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. All right, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining us. God bless.
Thank you, everybody.